If you're thinking about getting into running this summer, first of all, welcome. Second of all, buckle up. If you already think running is difficult, you accidentally chose the hardest month to start. But don't worry, I'm gonna tell you how to make it feel bearable. When I first started running, I was out of shape, unhealthy, and objectively picked the hardest time to start, like you. If you're new here, hi, I'm Gigi. I started running from 0 in 2022, as in no athletic background. And since then, I've gotten first place in multiple races, including 2 half marathons. My running journey also started in the summer, and in this video, I'm breaking down why summer running feels harder, how to stop letting heat destroy your confidence, and how to actually enjoy running if this is the season you're starting in. Part 1. Why summer running feels this way. One of the biggest mistakes beginner runners make is assuming that a hard run means bad fitness, especially during the summer months, because heat changes everything. 2 summers ago, I signed up for a half marathon that was taking place at the end of September in DC. I chose this race because one of my good friends lives there, and I was hoping that the DC weather was going to be a lot better than Miami. But just because the DC weather was technically going to be better, my training weather sucked. If you know anything about summers in Miami, you know that I'm lucky if it feels like 83 degrees. Like, that's a chilly morning over here. It's only May and the mornings are already in the high 70s, low 80s. Don't even get me started on an afternoon run. It feels like 88 here. All that to say, naturally, my pace slowed down drastically. Easy runs stopped feeling easy, and my watch kept showing numbers that I hated looking at. Every run started becoming this weird emotional battle between me and my watch, where I really let my pace determine how I was feeling. Summer running is especially challenging if you did start in the new year, because maybe back in January you were hitting paces that literally feel impossible now, making you think that maybe you've either plateaued or lost fitness, when in reality that's all physiological. Your body has to work significantly harder in the heat to do 2 jobs: help you run and keep you from dying. When temperatures and humidity rise, your body starts redirecting blood flow toward your skin to help you cool with sweat, which sounds great in theory until you realize that means your muscles are now competing for oxygen and blood supply. So even if your effort stays the same, your heart rate goes up, your pace goes slower, and your breathing might feel unbearable. Don't even get me started on humidity, because sweat can't even evaporate while you're running in that, which basically means your body loses one of its main cooling systems. So when people complain about the heat and the humidity feeling different, they're not just making it up. There is truth behind why heat feels and is more challenging. Before you click out and decide that you don't want to start running anymore, let me explain. Because once you understand that your pace has nothing to do with your fitness, especially during the summer months, you can start accommodating. Part 2, the thing that changed my confidence. One of the biggest mindset shifts was learning how to separate pace from effort. Because let me tell you a secret, pace is not the only proof of progress. Effort, however, will tell you way more than pace ever will, especially in extreme climate. Think about it this way: an easy run with 85-degree temperature and 75% humidity is not going to feel the same as an easy run in a cooler location. So if you expect them to feel identical, you're setting yourself up for failure. Plus, training in these harder conditions is secretly making you a stronger runner, even if it doesn't feel that way at first. I'll give you 2 examples. Remember that DC race I mentioned at the beginning? Well, the week before my race, I quite literally cried because I could not maintain 2 minutes slower than my goal pace for an easy run. Not once, but multiple times during my training block, I felt defeated. Like there was no way I was going to be able to maintain the paces. And yet, as soon as I got to DC and I ran my shakeout run the day before, I felt amazing. And not only was I able to hit my paces during the race, I was able to negative split the race, meaning I felt so strong, and honestly, I think I could have gone faster. Mind you, it wasn't even cold. It was high 60s, low 70s, but in Miami talk, that is literally freezing. Had I shifted my perspective before this race, I would have saved a lot of tears and a lot of frustration. I pinky promise you that. More recently, Manny ran the LA Marathon, which, if you didn't know, because of the heat advisory, people were allowed to finish the race at mile 18, which never happens. Not to discredit the people that suffered through the race and haven't trained in heat, but the Miami Marathon was 2 months before, and not only was it much hotter, the humidity levels were insane throughout the race. In Miami standards, the LA Marathon was actually pretty chilly, and Manny had a very successful race, regardless of the hills, regardless of the heat, because there was no humidity, which has its own cons, but in the grand scheme of things, it was so much easier to breathe, and in the shade, it felt pretty nice. When you spend months training in the heat and humidity, your body adapts to working under harder conditions. So once temperature cools down even a little, you suddenly feel so much lighter. Again, not to discredit any of the people that ran the LA Marathon and suffered through it or had to finish at mile 18. I'm sure that if you only got to train in the cold, that heat change must have been awful for you. But as a Miami person, I ran that day at 3 p.m. in the sun and it felt pretty dang fine. The more I notice circumstances like this, the more I appreciate the summer training. But look, if that perspective shift isn't enough, let's talk about it. Part 3, how to not hate running this summer. First, I want you to go on a couple of feel runs, meaning enjoy the vibe. Maybe don't even take your watch. Go to your local coffee shop, listen to your favorite song. Go fully based off of vibes. Since most people run their easy runs too fast anyway, I want you to have air-conditioned breaks, water breaks, vibes. I want you to incorporate something to look forward to so you actually enjoy stepping outside. Second is more obvious, fuel and hydrate way more than you think. Naturally, your body's gonna be burning way more, and I need you to overhydrate. As in, drink your favorite electrolyte, you know, a little snacky snack. If you don't want to be spending all your money on electrolytes, you can add 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 3 teaspoons of sugar into water, shake it up. Doesn't taste the best, but I promise it'll give you your carb load. I'll link the video where I found that advice in the caption, but this gentleman created a formula and this is kind of what I've been using. And third, even on your hard runs, I want you to pay attention to feel over pace. A good way to measure what your hard should look like is by using the Runner Connect calculator linked in the description, which basically you just have to write down the dew point, your goal pace, and it'll give you a quick rundown of what paces you should be aiming for. In Miami, that usually looks like 20 seconds to 30 seconds slower than your goal pace. Last weekend I ran a 7K and I actually got first place overall women, which slay, but I did that at a 7:05 pace. According to the dew point calculator, technically that's like a 6:50, meaning that if I were in the cold, I'd be much faster. Instead of looking at that and being disappointed that I didn't go faster over the weekend, it makes me really excited about what my body's gonna be able to do when the cooler months start to come. Once you start focusing on these things, hopefully the idea of a hard run won't feel too bad, and hopefully you'll look at the summer as a pro for your future. And make sure to like, comment. I answer every single comment, and I will until further notice. All of that to say, I really do think that summer training builds a completely different type of runner, and I pick a promise I will no longer be complaining about the heat because it is only making me stronger. Thank you so much for watching this video. We are officially almost at 13,000 subscribers, and I'm very grateful for each and every one of you. But if you liked this video, be sure to check out these two that I've added right here for your flexibility. I'm a small channel I started 1 year ago, and here we are. Okay, bye!